everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. I'm back up once again by Nick, as today we are doing set, 22 Broly, I think it is, versus Soul Striker. Is it set 22?
Probably. I mean, I don't know what year it is, so I think so.
Yeah, I think it was 2 sets ago. But yeah, like always, there's buttons, links down below. Feel free to click up for the different reason. But let's get into today's matchup. So both you and Grant, you were also interested in Broly, so seeing you bring it back isn't a too much of a surprise. But definitely seeing Steve bring Soul Striker back out was kind of surprising to me, just because he's been so focused on U7 Gohan or Jiren in the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, he mentioned that when we were playing. He just wanted to play something different, and I think that's kind of been the consensus with a lot of people. At least at our, it's been pretty stale. So a lot of people are just playing the same things over and over. So, and that's kind of the reason, one of the reasons why I brought this out, because I've been playing Yellow U7 Goku for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So it's just something different to play, and I like this deck. I think it's pretty neat. It's not going to be making waves in regionals or anything, but Soul Striker definitely could. And again, it came back to Steve saying he just wanted to play something different, and he just haven't had much experience, so he just wanted to get more reps in playing blue, and I don't blame him. Blue's been historically my worst color to play, so just being able just to play that color is always good to build your repertoire for more skills when you're playing more games.
Yeah, and Soul Striker is one of those decks where just the resource is so good on that deck. Just to be able to pay something to immediately swing and then resend the energy to go into more things, or better preparing yourself for against your opponent during their turn.
Yeah, blue's always been a bomb style of color where you just get to the end game where you're just dropping bombs every turn, and Soul Striker just lets you do more of that more often, which is good.
I will say his turn 1 charge, crazy, but
yeah, I wasn't sure what he had in his hand, but typically with Soul Striker, the first 2 or 3 turns you don't do much anyway. A lot of times you just want your opponent to take you down to 4, especially with your not with a lack of an alternate win con. So in this deck list, with me, I want to be more hand controlly towards, especially towards the mid to late game. So if he's not going to take himself down, I won't. I don't mind. I'll let him stay to highlight total so he won't awaken, just because I don't care. The way I normally like to play hand control is just whittle the hand down to nothing and then just go all big on one turn and take them from 8 to nothing if possible.
Yeah.
And now here I'm just explaining how my alternate awaken works. Essentially, the field card is treated like a Broly's ring. You tap it to negate a Broly skill, and then the leader will let you draw 2 and flip over if you have a skillless Broly in play. So essentially a turn 2 awaken almost every time. And then the 2 Paraguses on board, you can play them for free if you have a Broly on board, and it's just a top 5 search.
Wow.
One of the good things about it is it searches any green Broly, so it doesn't have to have a specified cost with it too. So, and it can also be multicolor. So if you need a red-green Broly or your 8 drop, or in my list I'm running the Wicked Saiyans SCR, it's also searchable too from it.
Yeah, and always this deck pretty much is also one of the few decks where you're always gonna awaken turn 2, which just better helps. And not just that, but the way this deck goes, you're not just awakening turn 2. You're getting a lot of advantage because it plays these bigger cards, and then when he dies, he plays on the other field card, and when that field card's gone, it plays the other guy.
Yeah, so you're guaranteeing all of them. The way your field cards come out, they all say hand, deck, or drop. So unless you get unlucky and all your field cards are in your life, you're not going to miss. So it's the setup itself is pretty straightforward, and then once you get towards the mid game, after you get your second field card out and gone, you're pretty much wide open to do whatever you want. And here, I am swinging it with the 6-drop Broly. It does become crit when you play it, so I am swinging with a 30k crit swing. A lot of people don't like taking crits, especially early in the game, so most people will defend it, but usually 30k is enough for your opponent to say, no, I ain't going to do that. So it's a win-win either way. Either your opponent gets rid of 4 cards to stop a crit swing, or they take a crit.
Yeah.
I don't know how much self-awakening Steve is running, so he's kind of in a weird position where he can't do much. One of the things here is he does do this Gohan just to remove one of my one drops. I don't know how much he was doing there. I guess he just wanted to clear the board. I mean, granted, they're just one drop, so it's just 5k combo power. But for me, I don't generate Z energy too much, so I do like charging those into the Z energy when I can.
Yeah, and I think the only
Yeah,
card
I
he really
didn't need to
has,
even take a swing.
I think the only card he has for Self Awakening is in the Z deck. By the way, outside of sparking
Yeah.
the magic, if he has the 5 cards in his drop or more.
Yeah, so what I like to do, especially in games like this where your opponent doesn't want to battle, just to hit the hand pretty hard. With this one drop Broly that came out, meant to go with another Broly that came out of that set, but it also works here. If the Broly gets popped, it just goes to the battle area, from battle area to drop. You pay 1 green energy and play a 4-cost green Broly from your hand. And this Death Warrior Broly that came out of the what was it? The Ultimate Box says if this gets played, your opponent either KOs a card, or if they can't KO a card, they have to pitch 2 from hand. So against decks where they don't really want to do anything or play a board, it just forces them to discard 2 from hand. And then also, it does
the
even
free
more.
part.
Yeah, it reduces the cost of evolving a Broly by 2 green. And since this 8-drop Broly is 1 green or 1 red to evolve, you can do it for free. So for a 2-end play, your opponent pitches 3 cards from hand, and then you have a double striker, 35k double striker on board. Or in the better scenarios, if they have something on board, a potential burn.
Yeah, I guess in
so
situations,
the value.
Go on first.
Well, the value here is just insane. So for 2 energy, it's just so much. You're hitting the hand, you're hitting the opponent's board. It does a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the advantage in his situation is that he has to play the long game right now, so he really didn't have a lot of stuff on the board. Granted, he charged to Piccolo turn 2, which threw me off as well. I don't know if Steve knew what to expect going up against your deck, and that's why he's been so cautious on what to do. But I feel like it's kind of saved him a little bit.
Yeah, well, and at the same time too, blue doesn't really do much in the first few turns, especially in a deck like Soul Striker. They want to do more mid game stuff. Like the only thing I could really foresee doing would be playing Piccolo on turn 2, but again, like you said, he was kind of playing a little more cautiously just because he didn't know what I was doing. And as you can see, he wrote a lot of battle trick heavy cards like the UI Kamehameha, the Beerus Destroy. And then since we already had Z energy established, he was able to get that oob down quite early, which is good. Just a double striker and removing the board is super nice. And then I am able to get my field card off. The Broly says if it gets removed from the battle area, so it doesn't have to be anything specific. So now I'm set up for my potential Z Awaken when I get down to 3 life.
Yeah, I would say it's one of those things we're trying to push for that 3 life push, but
yeah, and in honesty, I could have taken it if I wanted to. Again, just putting myself down to 3 just makes me Z Awaken. But I didn't want to do it until I had the second. Well, you have to have both field cards in the drop, so wanted to wait a little bit on it. But in this case, I worried. Now here, I was able to pop field card with the Broly Z battle card. Its cost is reduced if you take a non-unique card and drop. The cost is reduced by 1 Z energy. So just a 1 drop that now lets me go off a little bit more for next to nothing, and then I still get a body out of it.
yeah, like this because this Broly on turn 4 is potentially if I recall correctly, a dual attack double strike if you use the activate main to pop another card 3 standard. Am I mixing it up with the cooler all of a sudden? I think that you play. Regardless,
it's a double striker. It's not a dual.
Yeah, but you're getting a ton of value just for that 1 energy.
It's a Yeah, the cooler is the dual attacker, quote unquote. But the Broly, it'll gain attack power and double strike if a card gets removed from the battle area. Then that's anywhere. So your opponent's side, your side, a field card, anything. As long as if it gets removed, then the effect will trigger. And now that we have Cooler on board, we're just going to generate a lot more value. Just add pressure for nothing, essentially, because its autos not once per turn. So there's a reason why it's still an expensive card because it's still really good in green.
Here you're hitting the hand,
And
which is
again, yeah. But it's the main reason why I want to play the card because I don't want to pop too many battle cards because I want to swing at them with Broly's, especially if I have my gigantic meteor destruction on the board as well. So I want to swing at the battle cards with my Broly's and then either use Cooler to hit the hand or pop something that I can't hit, like an active mode battle card, something that I know I can't get over, like a big guy, big body. So being able to pitch to from hand and then forcing the opponent to either out combo or negate to just waste more out of the hand.
And I think his order of operation there was probably the best way of going at it. He knew he'd get out of the cooler attack, so pop another threat and just combo out. I felt like it's the safer option.
Right. Now, I don't think there's much else for me to do in this case. I think, yeah, we play this other Paragus, which does the same thing as the Searcher, but instead you just draw a card. But it's still a free play if you have a Broly on board. And I guess we want to hit the hand a little bit more so we can evolve for one.
Now,
And now here,
yeah, that works. That works. No, I was gonna say you're in a situation where you're tapped out with 5 lives, so I feel like you feel comfortable where you're at. You are going to have to sell bottom deck card for this attack here, but the value you get for taking this card out will probably be more beneficial than you losing one card in your hand.
yeah, because worst case scenario, he wastes his entire hand to get rid of to stop the attack. Best case scenario, I burn him a damage and I just replace the card that I bottom decked. So
I need to mention this because it's about to happen if I recall correctly. Steve misunderstood the way the permits work on your leader. He was taking it that the Broly cards couldn't be negated. So he's about to do some, if I recall correctly, he's going to do some crazy comboing in a second. And it's only because he misunderstood. He knew this Broly was going to restand if he let the attack go through. And he thought if he went through, he wasn't going to be able to stop the attack. So just point that out here before you guys see this card coming to the board.
yeah, yeah. the permanent says you can't negate a battle card, or you can't negate a Broly swing onto a battle card. So with the leader, Z cards, not unisons, but Z cards, battle cards, if they swing at a battle card, you can't activate a counter skill. So if I was to let the attack go through and swing for game with the Broly, he could have baby hatched. But in this case, I don't think it would have mattered either way, just because there's less stuff in his hand now. So
he got rid of a double strike, unfortunately. Got rid of a really strong negate. And Grant, if you wanted to even push, you still have to pitch another card. And he did. We did see him use the Zeno to pick a card up and put Dimension Magic down instead. So he had a way of also stopping the Broly swing. It was just a little bit of miscommunication, unfortunately, on his part.
right. But I mean, we're still, for me defensively, I'm still sitting at 5 lives, so I'm not too worried about being tapped out. And my leader is being from the 4-drop Broly that got played a little bit earlier, and I can Z Awaken for free, so I don't have to worry about energy commitments there. And once I am Z Awakened, my 1 plus 10k combo power Brolys get their energy cost reduced by 1. So I have 0 plus 10ks defensively. So once I'm Z Awakened, my hand is never bricked, essentially.
Yeah. And your Z leader is also innately a 20k. So, like, even if you put you at the point where you Z Awaken, it's going to be even more that he has to expend just to get that damage off.
Right. So usually when I play this deck, I usually feel pretty safe defensively, unless there's just something that like a 90k triple strike or something egregious. Usually, I feel pretty safe going down for the final the final 3 life.
I can't remember 100% this Vegito top of my head, but I do know it has in turn effects. Or maybe it's on play, it pops the card. Yeah.
Yeah, it does bounce to hand. And here we go with the Freezy Awaken, and now I'm 25k base defensively.
Which, as we mentioned beforehand, you've done plenty in this match so far to kind of um, whittle his hand as much as you could possibly. So, like, this Vegito innately is just a regular. Like, I think if I'm correct, it doesn't gain any double strike, any triple strike. So, like, just put effort into getting one strike. What he did was probably the best solution: is passing, keeping what he had in his hand for whatever you're potentially throwing at him next turn, while maintaining what resources he can.
At the end of the day, all that energy doesn't do much if you don't have a hand to play it.
That's true too. Yeah.
So here we get the gigantic meteor destruction, which honestly, it's really good. It's fair for what it is, especially if since it's so heavily tied to Broly cards. But swinging at a battle card, like in this case, I'm going to swing at the Vegito, 20k on 20k, but now I'm going to pop the card to give it a plus 30k, so I'm 50,000. And if the attack connects, he pitches 2 cards from hand. So it's absolutely a lose-lose in this case. In this case, he either has to save a rest mode battle card or pitch 2, which he took it and pitched the 2.
Yep. Here you're just kind of interesting swing. Yeah.
Well, he didn't have a hand, so here we just swing with the double strike, and now he has nothing. Or he negated it. He was able to negate it because he drew D magic off. But now I just have to swing with the double strike for game.
I'm actually confused on what just happened there. You swung with a 1-drop, and he just took the life.
Yeah, because he didn't have a hand.
Oh, it gains. I forget that it gains power on play. That's what confused me. Okay. But yeah, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind his buttons, links down below. Feel free to click them to whatever reason. And bye.